Oh shit, y'all. I'm held at gunpoint, making me do this. Fuck.
Welcome to Gog's Tavern, the sacred sanctuary for balance extremists. Picture this: a dimly lit room filled with the faint glow of monitors, where the air is thick with the scent of stale energy drinks and unfulfilled dreams. Here, these self proclaimed guardians of game balance gather, clutching their spreadsheets like holy texts, debating the merits of a 0.1% damage nerf on a character no one plays. They've dedicated their lives to ensuring that every pixel is perfectly aligned, while their own lives remain as unbalanced as a Jenga tower in an earthquake. You can spot them easily, sitting in their mom's basement, proudly sporting their I Love Math shirts, and whispering sweet nothings to their meticulously crafted spreadsheets. These folks have taken min-maxing to a whole new level. Forget about social skills. They've optimized their time to the point where even their small PP is statistically significant. So, if you ever find yourself at Gog's Tavern, just remember, while they're busy calculating the exact number of turns it takes to beat the game, the rest of us are out here living life, one respawn at a time.
Alright, in this video I wanted to talk about an item that was released couple or 3 weeks back. I believe it's in the fall season limited time shop, which has a painting. I would recommend always buy paintings. If you miss something, you can always come back because they always just come back and add items. But it's the Reaping Gale. Now, there's been some weapons released this year that eat like burns and bleeds and stuff like that, and they give stat boosts. And so they do it based on just attacking. And those typically cap at about 100%. Since an attack is worth 100% melee, it can eat up to 2 times that, 200% melee worth of the status. And that typically, the stat booster, there's usually two stats. There's uh, usually a main stat and then like a secondary. There's been some that's done a main stat in endurance, some that's done a main stat in charisma, some that's done a main stat in luck. And so this one is actually, it costs tokens, but it's actually the first one that that actually does it's the skill. And so what I'm gonna first do on my mage character is actually I'm going to inflict my burn. So basically, I'm going to be, in this instance, going to be using Mana Cascade. A lot of people don't like this because it's an overcharged cost, like 915 MP. A lot of people don't like overcharged costs. To me, a Beast Mage, it's not that big of a deal because I personally am always using resource heal shenanigans and combos and stuff like that. So it's not that big of a deal. I really think if you own like Mind Gauntlet, Pixel Ether, Siphon, Spell, and stuff like that, it's still not that big of a deal. Uh, Now, the Dead Sea Scepter came out during Talk Like a Pirate Day. It's in one of the shops there. It's basically um, a cheaper version of the Monster Lord weapon. In fact, the Monster Lord weapon, I think by and large, just became sort of useless because this is the Monster Lord weapon. I think is 392 SP. This one is half the SP, but it's also maybe taking away spell damage or maybe weapon damage or something like that for this the same power burn. Which, if you're a mage, that's and you're doing burns, to me, that's fine. Um, and then also another thing that Mana Cascade does is it does a secondary burn to target MP, which I think makes this. What'll end up happening is, since Reaping Gale's Burn Eater is a skill, it's worth 200% melee base, so it can eat up to 2 times that, so 400% melee. Um, So what I'm going to do here is let's just actually, just to make sure I land my hits, let's do Arcane Amp. And then this will help with infliction. So all I'm going to do is just kind of show this real quick. So basically you get your 15 power times 4 rounds, and then also the 5 power times 1. So I'm not even going to use Celerity. Then I'm going to go ahead and come over here and then equip Reaping Gale. And then for 481 SP, basically it's going to eat the burn. And then it should max out. Oh, I did Arcane Amp, so my int averaged into that. I forgot about that. But if you notice the charisma, so it does main stat and charisma. So this is quite the item. And so, um, oh, I see. The Dead Sea Scepter also gives yourself a self Elevuln. That's how it pays uh, for the other half. And what's nice about that is a self Elevuln actually will boost healing to yourself. So it's actually not a bad thing. So like even like phase right now would be get a boost. So the Dead Sea Scepter's quite good. And so um, the other thing too on the Reaping Gale, when you attack, it inflicts burns. So we'll come over here and if you notice, there's now a wind burn. Um, a lot of rounds. It's 4 rounds, so it'll build slowly. Um, but I wanted to show that to show one other thing. One of the other things about these DOT eaters that give a stat boost is this actually happens before the hits land. And so what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to show you, this is going to be more beneficial for mages than it is for anyone else. But you could actually pull this off. You could actually pull this off if you were a warrior or a ranger, though less beneficial. Uh, I could see a warrior doing this to gain dexterity, or a ranger to do this to gain strength, because these will actually trigger the style bonuses, which I think go live at either 155 or 160, and so um, you can actually cap this up to 234 stat for, I think, what it showed 3 rounds. So it's kind of nice in that you can sort of hybridize yourself for a few turns. And obviously, that's going to be more beneficial for a mage, um, especially if you're using other stat drive items. And what I'll show you here is what I mean. So again, we're going to do this. We actually have a 16.25 power burn. So what I'm going to do now is do the Reaping Gale, but I'm going to actually swap it to, let's do melee. And then I'm going to go ahead and eat the burn here. And it's going to pre-fire the eat burn, give you the stat boost, and then land your hits. So as you notice, I landed all the melee hits, but I don't have strength. That's because I now have 234 strength for 3 rounds. So let's see if we can do that one more time. Hopefully. So we have the 14.69 power burn. go ahead and swap to Reaping Gale. It's melee. Actually blocked a lot of those hits. So I have 234 strength. So what I'm going to do now is just attack with a melee weapon. And so as you notice, I'm landing hits. And as you notice, I'm inflicting a wind burn that is now major stat inflict from strength. And again, I could do that with the ranged version. Let's do that real quick. There's some other options. I think that may be able to max the if you didn't want to use that combination. I think Surtur's Promise. There's the it's a ice spell. Forget the name of it. Then you can also use maybe Heroic Titan weapon with a burn spell like I think it's that Hive Diver spell. There's different burn option combos that I think would result in enough burn to um, to trigger. I even think I need to look real quick, but let me do this real quick. So I'm going to change my Reaping Gale over to ranged, and then we're going to go ahead and eat the burn. And then now we're going to have ranged adaptation. Actually, just only had 197 dex this time. This is the first dex stat drive in the game, so um, it's a pretty decent way to essentially not have to use moonwalkers. So, but for mages, it's basically a way to temporarily hybridize and increase your bonk damage. Um, if you wanted to do that long term, you would just probably need to constantly inflict burns. But like for example, I could potentially, let's see here, I might have a, I think I have a copy of Arcane Rift Key here. I, I think that harm, it's a permanent harm burn, not a harm poison. I'm pretty sure. Let's see, there should be a ice spell in here that you could use with the Mechwog Sapper weapon. I'm trying to remember the name of it here real quick. That spell right there might have enough burn to use with Mechwog as well. Actually, looks like I have this that ice spell is on another character. I know what character it's on. I forget the name of that spell, but it has a permanent ice burn. But let's see what we can get real quick. Let's just come over to Combat Practice Trainer. Go ahead and do this idea. So Mantra take time to burn. So it's 1.7. It's permanent. That's going to be 1.7 times 10 rounds. So it's just 170%. So let's see. 170% melee. So it wouldn't max it, but the permanent harm burn that you have on yourself here, 1.27, if you used hex bound, you could transfer it over. Yeah, so this is just 100. See, so um, like I said, there's just some ideas you can use to hybridize temporarily, which is going to be more beneficial to mages, because an int boost like this doesn't give you MP. Unfortunately, wish it did. So we get here. So yeah, it pre-hits, so it's pretty nice. And then again, the Dead Sea Scepter has that 100. It's a 2-turn 117.86 Elevon, and so that'll end up boosting your healing here. But that's it for this video. Reaping Gale, again, the only deck stat drive in the game that, notwithstanding the MP costed Moonwalkers, so probably for those builds it'd be nice. Beast Warrior's nice, and Beast Mage is obviously as well.